The New York Giants.
The Giants. Let's talk about the Giants, because I'm sick of talking about filthy. Tom Coughlin, one of the best coaches in the NFL. He is a blessing and a gift to this team. Every Giants fan and the Giants owners and management, the whole organization ought to be completely grateful because they are so lucky to have Tom Coughlin. He's won 2 Super Bowls with them. Manning.
Nice man, but often he looks constipated.
Eli Manning has proven himself. He's beaten Brady in a couple Super Bowls. He has come through in the clutch. Now, last year was the post-Super Bowl season for the Giants, and it wasn't so good. But, and let me just tell you, I have to say this. Why is it so hard to repeat as Super Bowl champions in the NFL? Hold on, I have an answer to that one.
It's not a rhetorical question.
Well, it's a question. I want to hear your answer in a minute, but I get to go first because I asked it. There are a lot of reasons. First one is this. It's the ultimate victory in the whole sport of football. And the effect on the mind is as the player, I've never played professional football, and I wouldn't because I'm just too smart for that. I don't want to wake up feeling back pain when I just rolled out of bed and I'm 38 years old. Anyway, it just makes the whole team go soft. They get complacent because after all, they just accomplished what they've been trying to accomplish for their entire professional career, in fact, their entire sports career.
And it's a long road.
And so how, during the spring and summer following winning the Super Bowl, in the winter, how can you possibly get as motivated as the other teams, the other 31 teams in the league that did not win the Super Bowl? You can't. You're going around, you're going to the White House, you're doing endorsements, everybody and their mother is congratulating you. You read the clippings about how fabulous you were and your team was and your offense and your defense or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it all goes to your head. You got to remember these are athletes.
Some kid that you talked to in 5th grade that you don't even remember comes out of the,
You got to remember, pro athletes, football players included, young, mostly in their 20s, millionaires, especially, well, all of them these days, even the linemen, even the third-string linemen are millionaires, and they earn it. And success absolutely goes to your head. Now that is a combination that is just made to soften up the brain. It's like you take a hard frozen block of ice and you sit it out in the sun in Colorado on a July day, maybe put it on top of a black car. It's going to just turn to mush. It softens and melts. That's what happens to the minds of a football player and a football team after winning the Super Bowl, and that's why it's so hard to repeat in the NFL. But that said, the year after that, like what the Giants have just experienced, their post-Super Bowl season, when they did not do so well. Now, this past winter, spring, and summer, the summer that we're in now, they are back to where they're one of the 31 teams that did not win the Super Bowl last year because it was Baltimore. So they don't have all those mind-softening effects of fame, fortune, and success, and they still got their millions. And this is where good coaching is able to lift a team up. You got to remember, a couple of years ago when the Giants made it, they were not headed towards being in the playoffs. They had a very mediocre record, but they poured it on at the tail end of the season, got in as a wild card, I believe, and then they went all the way through, beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So it really has to do with playing well down the stretch. If the team has got it all together, which is so difficult and so complicated, at the right time of the year, which is the end of the season, and that's what Baltimore did again this past year, because they went through stretches when they were terrible. But you put it together as a team at the right time, you can make the playoffs even as a wild card, and then you can win the Super Bowl as has happened the last 2 years. So can the Giants do it? They've still got Eli Manning. They've lost a lot of players from their last Super Bowl season, fair amount of turnover. They've had some absolutely fabulous lights-out wide receivers. I'm always going to be high on the Giants because of Tom Coughlin, because coaching is a huge part of getting the team to play together as a team.
Well, all I can think of is a wonderful football special, the series called A Football Life, where Tom Coughlin was featured. And I learned a lot about Tom Coughlin that I did not know. I just thought he was an angry, constipated man. But actually, he's a great man who's really proven himself, and a lot of people have credited him. He's moved his family around. His wife has been very, for over 30 years now, has been very complimentary to him, and has really kept the family focus and the family structure there, because she accepted a long time ago that this is what life was going to be like in football. And so Tom has gone many places he had an assistant um, that has been with him through all of the Super Bowls. That was actually a player of the Green Bay Packers who wasn't one of the more notable players, but he was on the '66 and '67 squad when they won the Super Bowls with Vince Lombardi, and I found that quite interesting. And he credits him with a lot of the inspiration. And when you watch this football, for them winning Super Bowls and for the Giants doing so well, and for coming back and finishing a lot of seasons very strong, I think your insight to Tom Coughlin is right on, because he has paid the dues, so to speak, and there are a lot of dues that you have to pay when you look at all the different areas of being an NFL head coach and being inspiring. But even Mike, I think really Strahan put it best before he retired. He said, I couldn't stand Tom Coughlin when Coach Coughlin took over the team when I was still playing for the Giants, but by the time I had retired, I wouldn't have played for any other coach. So obviously Tom Coughlin got through to that team, and it shows obviously on the football field, because like you said, if you look at the fact that they've done what few teams have done, like the Steelers did many years back, going from being a wild card to winning the Super Bowl, I think that's in itself an obvious testament to how strong and how motivated a coaching staff can get an NFL team to play to finish, obviously, as strong as a team can finish. I never count the Giants out. I think that there's that obvious consistent structure in a successful portfolio, if you will, of knowing how to do everything from training camp to drafting to bringing players up. They've got that program put together, and they're a team that's been around since 1923 or 25 when they were the NFL Football Giants, and they had two of the greatest coaches ever, Tom Landry, believe it or not, as their defensive coordinator, and Vince Lombardi as their offensive coordinator. The Giants have what few teams have. They have so much tradition that it probably echoes in the halls, and it's probably everywhere you turn, and every place, everything you smell when you're anywhere in their facility. So you can't really count them out. I'm not sure about some of the receivers coming back, but you're right. They had some lights out receivers, and Victor Cruz, who I'm not sure if he returned to the team or not, but they're always going to be a contender, and they're always going to be somebody you're going to have to watch out for. How they're going to finish, I really don't know. I'm really going out on a limb here, but I would say they're probably going to finish with 9 or 10 wins. That's kind of where I'd put the Giants in that division.
Giants are going to win the division. Last year it was the Deadskins that came through on the last day of the season. They beat the Cowboys in the winner wins the division game at home, thanks to some interceptions by timely Tony Romo. But anyway, the Giants will be back, win the division, and then we'll see what happens. But I agree with you. I wouldn't count the Giants out. If you look at the rest of the division, we've already covered the Beagles. We'll cover the Cowboys next, and the Deadskins. Well, we've got those two left.
Deadskins, they are.
But Giants are, in terms of coaching and in terms of quarterback, I would say far better than Dallas, and I would say substantially better than the Deadskins. And that's coaching and quarterback are the two most important things in the NFL.
Well, they've got both those categories in spades.